Been meaning to get this video out for a long time now, but I kept putting it off to do other things. Finally got a chance now. This is my thoughts on the upcoming He-Man movie, which will be here sometime in the future. I've been waiting for another He-Man movie for a long time now. I've been waiting for a He-Man movie for a long time now. I love what they were able to do back in the 80s with the Dolph Lundgren and Frank Langella Masters of the Universe Canons movie. I thought for an 80s action flick, this right here was an awesome adaptation of He-Man, the Masters of the Universe. See, back in the 80s canon, they didn't have the money that Hollywood has today to make He-Man just like the cartoon, you know, with all the characters. So they just took the important ones and made an adaptation that actually follows the comics of He-Man, not the cartoon, despite what most people think it's based on the cartoon, but it's actually based on the comic books. It's an adaptation of the He-Man franchise. Well, anyway, and we're still able to produce a solid, in my opinion, a solid adaptation of He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. I thought for an 80s action flick, this was awesome. One of my all-time favorite movies. But now, today, after seeing films like Star Wars, the entire Star Wars trilogy, not the prequels and the original series, Guardians of the Galaxy, the Avengers, Thor 1 and 2, you can make a badass Masters of the Universe film with all of the characters, like not only He-Man, Teela, Man-at-Arms. You could have Orko instead of Gwildor. Stratos, the bird guy, one of my favorite Masters of the Universe. Buzz-Off, another awesome one. Mechanic. Ram Man. Ram Man. Manny Faces. Mr. Roboto. So many awesome characters from the bad guys, not just Skeletor, Evil Lyn, Beastman, but you can have Trapjaw, Triclops, Mermaid Man, Clawful, the green mutant monster looking guy, I keep forgetting his name, Jujitsu, the Snake Man, Zodak, Hordak, She-Ra. So many, you can have so many of the Masters of the Universe in a movie now. Whereas of course the 80s film had limitations that you can, with a decent sized budget, you can make a good film. It said this movie will be an origin story. Really though, if they're doing an origin story, and I hope it goes along the lines of the He-Man 2002 series, knowing this movie, they'll probably take stuff from the New 52 He-Man, which I've never read, because that's what they always do. But I hope they also take stuff from the 2002 series and they're doing an origin story. I prefer them He-Man be already established like he was in the 80s cartoon. But if they have to do 80s and 90s cartoons, but if he has to do an origin story, the 2002 one is the way to go. And having, of course, Adam transform into He-Man. The 80s film had envisioned He-Man as a separate, envision He-Man as one person, kind of like what the original comic books did. The Secret Identity came about when the cartoon series came along. And of course, so yeah, you can do a badass Masters of the Universe film. There have been several directors and producers tied to the project. I remember the first one was John Chu, but he announced that he wasn't directing the film. I keep forgetting the next guy's name, but there's so many directors and producers attached to this, and the film is still in development. When more news on the film becomes available, I'll do a video on it. Alright, Dog8798 out.